Splash Brothers.
Cool, ready when you are, bro.
Hey, it's Ash from aka Froky from the Splash Brothers. We're here with Matthias from Auckland, playing Team Challenge, and normally plays in real life at Bay Dragon. How you going today, mate?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Yeah, thanks.
You're going
Thanks
great?
for having me.
Sweet as. We've just got a few questions for you today about you, and then and we've got your deck list up, so we'll just get straight into it, eh?
Awesome.
Bro, what was it that first got you into Pokemon? Like, were you into TCG before that, like Magic or Yugi, or you were just a Pokemon
Well,
fan?
actually, so I started off playing Pokemon the games in just primary school, and then my brother just got me into the card games, and we've been playing ever since. All sorts of games. We play mainly Pokemon, and then a little bit of Yu-Gi-Oh! And some Duel Masters way back in the day, before Duel Masters went bust.
Nice.
We loved that game, but yeah, Pokemon. I started in 2010, I think probably. But I remember winning in 2010, coming second in the New Zealand Juniors division. So I've actually still got the playmat that I won then. But then we had a break for a while. Came back 2017 or 2016 or something when like Night March was running around. Didn't really like the meta, and then we came back just last year. Just started up and I've been playing. Yeah, me and my brother and a couple of my other mates joined our little like kind of team crew, whatever you call it, and we've just been having lots of fun.
Alright, what did you play back in the day when you first started out?
Back in the day, I played my Ampharos Heart Gold Soul Silver deck, and actually that made me kind of love Ampharos, and now it's my favorite Pokemon, and I've got a whole collection of all these Ampharos cards.
Oh, mate. So
Yeah.
are you mainly a player? You enjoy the competition, or you're a collector as well?
Mainly just a player. Yeah, I only have a collection of like Ampharos cards. Everything else is just for play. Yeah, just having fun.
That's cool, Les. I mean, looking at your deck at the moment, bro, I can see I've got a pretty similar deck. Shout out to Pikarom. I mean, what is it that made you want to play Raichu Pikarom, like, with that little bit of spice from Mewtwo and Incineroar and stuff?
So I was practicing with the Pikarom, and I was actually in the other team challenges. I was having a little bit more fun with the Dragapult deck, but then none of us were qualifying through, and I was like, you know what? I want to qualify. I'm gonna go try hard a little bit, practice around with Pikarom. But I was finding that I need a little bit more versatility against some certain matchups, and we knew a couple of the players had a few decks that they could have gone. So I was kind of playing for lots of different decks. So basically, the biggest threat that I was kind of scared of was a Tinnitus, as you can see there with the whole like Surf Etched and Aurora Energy combo. I think it was just a lot more favorable to have it there. And even in one of my matchups, it wasn't necessarily the Surf Etch that I used, but it was the threat of it there on my bench that kind of scared him off from playing anything like he couldn't just go in and one-shot my Pikarom, otherwise I'd one-shot him back.
Yeah, because for
So he had to,
a lot of people that don't know, Eternatus is it's pretty easy to play. You just need a few dark monsters on the board and 2 energy to energize it, and then it can smack for up to 270, I think it is.
yeah. So it's one-shotting everything in my deck.
Yeah.
So I've got to make sure that I can one-shot it back.
Yeah.
And also the other thing that helped me in that matchup was having the Raichu. He only had a couple switches, because obviously Eternatus you can run the hiding energies, and once he used those switches, that's when I just popped out the Raichu and just paralyzed him for ages until I can just in one of the games that I won, I would just paralyze him and with one of my Mewtwo's, and then swap into my other Mewtwo and keep paralyzing him, and then boss the next one, paralyze him until both of them are in shot for a Tag Bolt GX, and then I knocked them both out at the same time, so he never had a chance to one-shot me.
Oh wow, that's really good.
Sounds like your playstyle, Matthias, is very similar to someone at our group. Shout out Aaron.
Yeah, see. The only other things really was the Greninja was also for a possible Decidueye matchup, if it came down to it. We didn't actually run into any Decidueye, but I knew one of the guys might have run Decidueye, so I just had it there. And it also is good against Luke Metal, and it can even be good against Centiskorch with the GX. No one really uses it, but it can be quite cheeky against Centiskorch with put one of your opponent's bench Pokemon and all cards attached into your opponent's hand
Bro,
when they charge up, like 7 energies.
such a nice looking card as well. Like,
That's my favourite card.
Yeah. So good. Yeah.
I like this is what Froky and I were talking about, just the those attacks damage unaffected by weakness, resistance, or any other effects on your opponent's active Pokemon. And Squirtle, old Joel as well, was saying, like you've got Keldeo that does it, you've got Dragapult that hits through, but Greninja being a GX is a logical choice for this deck when you've got that spicy Mewtwo.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a really good card. Especially Luke Metal can be a little bit scary with Picrom sometimes. It just does that nice 2-shot on the Luke Metal, 130, and he's got 260 HP, so...
So what would your ideal starting hand be? Like, what would you like to see for those new players that are thinking about playing Pikarom, Raichu, and Mewtwo build? What would you like to see in your first hand, and how would you play it out?
Yeah, so there's the thing that makes Pikarom so good at the moment, I think, is the fact that it's got 2 optimal starts. One where you're going first and one where you're going second, so no matter what, you're kind of winning. So if you're going first, you're just attaching to either, you're hopefully starting with a Mewtwo or a Pikarom pretty much. That's all you really need, and an energy. So you're just attaching to that, and you can even just kind of pass on your first turn, and then second turn you're kind of going for that Tapu Koko Prism Star, and then you're just hitting the full blitz straight away. If your Tapu Koko Prism Star is prized, because sometimes it is, then you can just go into the Electrify with Bolton, and it will happen sometimes. Don't freak out if that's the case. You just got to Electrify second turn. But then the other kind of option is when you're going second, you can just Electrify with Bolton. So you attach and you Electrify, and lots of people like to go first in this meta, so that's kind of good for you. Then you can just go second, Electrify energy onto your Mewtwo or Pikarom, and then you can full blitz the next turn straight away. So you're getting it's a real fast deck, which is really good and quite consistent. So you'll probably be looking at either a Pikarom, Mewtwo, and maybe a Bolton. An Air Balloon would be really nice if you're going first, so you can hit that Tapu Koko really easily. You attach your Air Balloon to your active Pokemon, attach to your bench, and then your second turn you attach, and then you Tapu Koko, and you've already got the Air Balloon there in case they mana you or something like that.
Yeah.
Pretty straightforward once you practice a little bit. Yeah.
And what we're seeing in the list, there's no energy switch. I qualified for the team challenge with just normal Pikarom, and I was playing 2 energy switches. So, did you find loading up the Pikarom difficult sometimes, or you didn't want your opponent to knock it out once it's energized?
Yeah, so my deck actually originally did have energy switch, and then when I was playtesting it was good. Don't get me wrong, if you're gonna play energy switch, go hard. That's a really good strategy. But for me, I would rather go for the versatility that's it's not really a Lightning Mew. I wouldn't necessarily call it a Lightning Mew because the backbone is kind of a Pikarom.
Yeah.
It's still kind of got a little bit of those elements of having the Surfetch and the Greninja there for certain matchups that I knew was going to be present.
Yeah.
So I kind of would rather that versatility than that energy switch, because lots of the time I wasn't really I found energy switch was either really good first turn when you can get the Tapu Koko and then energy switch the energy onto one Pokemon or something like that, or really late game. But it was very situational, and I'd often just discard it.
Yeah.
So, whereas if you're just discarding a Greninja GX or you're discarding an Incineroar, it's just there for later on.
You're
so
still getting value out of the 2 cards that you're discarding.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
and you were saying before, it helps you out with difficult matches, like Decidueye and stuff like that.
Yeah, and it was quite a small tournament as well, so I was kind of honed on certain decks that rather than getting consistency, because it wasn't really a long tournament, because we knew from the previous ones we didn't have as many players. I think the first one we had a lot, and then the second one quite a lot as well, and then the last 2 we kind of had a little bit of players. So I went more for a honed strategy rather than being more consistent with an energy switch. I wanted to just really make those matchups more feasible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, for those people who haven't played before, I mean, this would just be singing to the choir for you, Matthias. But I mean, looking at your deck list, you've got your Profs, you've got your Manis. That's just extra dig support, and especially with the Manis, you get to disrupt your opponent's hand, so that's nice. You've got your bosses for that gusting power, and the chaotics, which have become a real staple in standard format at the moment. Do you find it hard to choose? Because I look at this, I have to say, it's probably not a problem for you, but I'm such an indecisive player, and I end up having different decks every week because I just can't pick what I want to play. Do you find it hard to pick the GX attack to do? Or like if there's a couple to pick from that would work, how do you navigate around that?
Yeah, so I think with this deck, it's that's what I really enjoy actually about it. Because we're our kind of team, we like to play kind of roguey-ish decks a little bit, have some fun with the game. Whereas this time I tried to go for a little bit more of like a sweatier deck. But if you are going to go for like a competitive deck, it's quite fun to play something that's so versatile, and you actually have to think quite a lot anyway. So it's still quite strategic, and it's not just like copy a deck list, because everyone has a different Pikarom, everyone has a different play style. In terms of the GX, you'll play and you have to just kind of think about which matchups. Like I play it out of my head, like how is this deck optimally going to play, and how is the opponent optimally going to play in certain matchups, and what GX will outcome with me with the best result. And then when I go into the game, I can kind of have an idea of what I want to do. So for example, like ADP, I'm usually going to want to go and like match their prize trade, because I'm going to want to. So I'm trying to probably tag bolt GX and do the 200 and 170 so that I can catch up to their prize trades.
Yeah, because they take 2 after the altered creation, eh?
Yeah, exactly. So that's just one example where I've played the matchup so often that I know what I need to do. Yeah. So I'm going to try full blitz as soon as possible and just load it up on the Pikarom and then tag bolt GX. Now, in some certain scenarios, you got to be watching your opponent, because they might be able to knock out your Pikarom straight away, like with 2 hits before you get 2 hits. So you have to be careful from loading up. But most of the time, you're probably going to be using that tag bolt GX against them. However, in some other matchups, they might hit you with a Center Scorch, and you might just say, "Hey, I'm just going to Darkness GX." You just got to kind of play it off what your opponent is doing and just sit there for a little while. Don't be afraid to kind of just sit there and think about your moves.
Yeah.
Just got to think it through. What are they going to do? And I mean, just play to what their best hand is at all the times. That's what I try to do. And I don't always do that. I'm not like a pro or anything, but I just try to think, okay, what could they do, which would be the worst case for me? How am I going to stop that? Yeah. And you kind of just always think what the worst case is going to be and how you're going to stop that. Because, even if they've got 1 card in the hand, lots of the time it's just a research or something. Unless they've done nothing in their turn and they've just passed, then you know that they've got a dead hand. But if they've got just 1 hand, lots of times it's just like a research or a Dedenne or something like that.
And not money and give them more cards in their hand.
Yeah, stuff like that. Yeah, you gotta watch out.
Yeah. How many people were in the tournament you topped in?
I think it was actually only like 8. It was a very small one. So it wasn't exactly like an amazing accomplishment, but my matchups weren't necessarily like, they were still great games. And I versed, an Eternatus, a Pikarom, and a Phalanx deck, which, I mean, it doesn't sound great, but it's super effective, so I still won against that.
Yeah.
With the Mewtwo.
I mean, I wouldn't cut yourself short, bro. I topped out of 4 people. Ash topped out of 4 people, so that's an achievement. And out of 8 people to come first and know how to pilot this deck really well, that's cool. I really personally have 2 sort of consecutive questions, if that's okay.
Yeah, sure.
The first being, what is the most damage that you've done with the Incineroar GX when you've done Darkest Tornado? And the second question, when the format rotates in around August of 2021, what do you see yourself playing? Do you see anything from...
Sorry, you're cutting out there.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, you're cutting out there on the second question. Maybe repeat it.
When the format rotates and Battle Styles comes in and some of these cards rotate out of standard format, what do you see yourself playing? Is there something that's caught your eye, or a build that you've got put together? Don't give it away, but if there's a couple of base cards that you're thinking about building around.
No, I love talking about that kind of stuff. Yeah, so for starters, the Incineroar, I think the other day actually I hit like 1,000 damage or something ridiculous. I can't remember what the max you can get with it in this deck. It would be 250. On a 260. I don't know, something crazy. I remember hitting a crazy amount of numbers. I think it might have been less than 1,000 actually. I don't think you can get up to that much, but I remember just bazookaing something and just feeling so good about it. Going forward, if anyone is watching this and wants to play this deck, bear in mind that this deck isn't fit for the entire meta, but we kind of brainstormed our meta locally and knew what we didn't need to worry about, kind of thing, if that makes sense.
Yep.
So you kind of change some cards accordingly. So say like I knew that there wasn't going to be any like Mad Party or any like little things running around. I might swap the Incineroar for a Vikavolt if I knew Mad Party was there or something like that. Because it can actually, I mean, I versed a Mad Party and it wrecked me the other day. So, yeah, just take it with a grain of salt and just swap around a few kit cards, Incineroar and Greninja and stuff like that. You can swap them around and possibly think about adding speed energies. Incineroar's probably the main card that I would swap out, actually. It doesn't always get its value, to be honest.
And were you the first? Or what place on the team did you come? Did you qualify for?
I was the last one. Yeah.
You were the last one.
I was in top cut for all of them, but then I got knocked out by Center Scorch every single time. My mate who was playing Center Scorch knocked me out of the tournament every single time in top cut.
Did he place as well?
No, he didn't. He didn't play the last one. He got knocked out in every single final. He was in every single final, I think. I can't remember if that was exactly correct. But
I guess that's what he gets
actually,
for
he might not have been in one of
out.
them. What's that?
I said, I guess that's what he gets for knocking your Pikarom out.
Oh, it was actually Dragapult. I was running three Dragapults in a row. And then Dragapult is really in this meta, and it can actually beat Eternatus and stuff. But its hardest matchups are Cinder Scorch and probably Pikarom.
Oh, yeah.
And then last week I was just like, you know what? Let's go Pikarom. If you can't beat him, join him.
Yeah, I did the same thing. I just went with Pikarom right from the start.
Yeah.
Last question, bro, if that's alright.
Yeah.
Favorite Pokemon from the anime and favorite Pokemon card?
From the anime. Oh, I quite liked Infinite when they had that cool little like story with the Chimchar and then Ash took it or whatever. I remember watching it when I was a kid, and I was like, "That's so cool!" Ash took it and then trained it to be better. But in terms of Pokemon, all-time favorite Ampharos, hands down. Sweet. Favorite card from Hard Gold, Soul Silver. Have all the electric energies. I run.
Well, we appreciate your time, bro. I know it's a busy time of year, so we really appreciate you taking the time to come and have a chat with us, and hope you have the opportunity to share this video with some of your mates, and they get to see what a pro you are at Pokemon.
So I think you cut out, but I said most of it at the end.
Just talking you up, saying you're a pro. Look forward to meeting him in the team games, eh?
Oh yeah, sure, yeah.
We're talking friendly now, but it's game face on.
Oh yeah, I forgot to talk about the other question that you asked me earlier. Talking about the later on metagame when new sets come out and stuff. I probably see myself playing Dragapult, honestly. I played that and piloted lots of different variants before, and I really loved that when it was really popular, and I still love it now. And when Urshifu comes out, that's gonna. I think Dragapult could have potential if Urshifu knocks out Eternatus from meta and becomes real, and Pikarom possibly. Hopefully, I don't know if it will knock out Pikarom. I think Pikarom will still be popular, but Dragapult should be super effective. So then it's just gonna have good matchups there. Hopefully.
Sweet as. Keep your Dragon Pulse if you got them in your folder then, eh?
Yeah, definitely still keep that deck. Yeah, I love it.
All right, mate. Yeah, cheers for the insight to how you played the tournament and your deck list. It was very awesome and very informing.
Yeah, no problem, man. Pleasure to
Um,
have me.
that's all right. Yeah, I guess we'll just see you when we come up to Auckland at some time, or we'll see you in the team challenge.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you have any shout outs before we go?
I mean, I got a small YouTube with like a couple videos. Thunderful and my other YouTube channel, which is like more with friends and stuff, is KLS Studios. But other than that, not really.
Sweet as. Thanks for that, bro.
Sweet.
Sweet.
Cheers, man.
See you.
Have a good one.
You too.